is a very significant breakthrough for our domain business, and in particular for the registry part of the domain business. It is for the first time that a major government-operated top-level domain or government-owned top-level domain is actually choosing our services.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. Joining me is Team Internet CEO Michael Riedel. Michael, we're chatting about your domains business today, in particular that new contract with Colombia. But first of all, could you take us through the growth you've seen in your domains business since your IPO back in 2013?
Yes, thank you, Stephen. Thanks for having me. And so since our IPO in 2013, 12 years ago, the domain industry has undergone a very decent growth. So when we IPO'd, there were around 250 million domain names. And today, just over a decade later, that number has grown to 370 million domain names. That is around 10 million additional domain names each and every year. So and when we look into the drivers of this growth, there were basically two main drivers that have driven this miraculous growth. The first were the new top-level domains, basically the trigger event, which helped the IPO back in 2013. So out of the 10 million domain names that have been created since every year, about 40% of them are these so-called new top-level domains. And these include endings like .xyz, .online, .icu, and many others. And so this has become a real force ever since. But maybe more importantly for our shareholders is the fact that out of these new top-level domains, almost 1 in 2 is being operated on our systems. The other growth driver that we always allude to in our investor materials are so-called repurposed CCTLDs. CC stands for country codes. And so repurposed country code top domains are basically those that are today understood as basically generic top-level domains. Among the most prominent examples are .ai, which is the island of Anguilla, but now understood as artificial intelligence. .io for the British Indian Ocean territories, which also represents input and output for digital companies. And last but not least, .co for the country of Colombia, but seen as a short and hip alternative to .com. So if the .com that you wanted is already taken, people are very happy to opt for the .co instead. And while this trend has been driving our growth as a domain business already since many years, now we don't only resell .co domain names. No, we really operate them at the technical level under a mandate given by the government of Colombia.
So, Michael, that's just the latest contract you've won, and it looks like a big milestone for the company. Take us through the significance of this 10-year deal to operate the domain for Colombia.
Right. So we've put the commonly known facts into our RNS, in particular the 8% revenue share that we and our partner CCI Registrar of Colombia retain out of the entire domain revenue from Colombia. So Colombian domain names have a typical retail point of $24 a piece. There's about 3 million domain names in existence. So these are the publicly known facts. From there, people can then, using the revenue share, deduct how much money flows to us and our partner in terms of net revenue. But we can't go any further given the sensitivities around this and given that we have certain information restrictions on this transaction. But in short, it is a very significant breakthrough for our domain business, and in particular for the registry part of the domain business. It is for the first time that a major government-operated top-level domain or government-owned top-level domain is actually choosing our services, which is beyond doubt a major milestone in the Lighthouse project that will also increase our chances to become the winner in tenders for other outsourced top-level domains.
I wanted to ask that, Michael. Are you exploring other national domain opportunities that could strengthen your global domain footprint?
Yes, there is a series of opportunities. Large outsourced top-level domains are, for example, .eu, which might come up for tender in a not too distant future. Also, .au for Australia is another such example. The largest outsourced transaction, so where not the owner of the top-level domain operates it itself, is .org, which is a transaction where the incumbent renewed the contract back in 2013, but now with our new credential under the belt, we believe that we will have even better chances in the future to land similar deals going forward.
Michael, could you take us through the prospects you're seeing for your broader domains, identity, and software segment?
Right. So as I mentioned in the beginning, so generally there is good growth from 250 million domain names back in 2013 to now 370 million domain names. We still expect that to continue this way. As people know from our investor presentations, volume growth is only one part of the equation. The other part is price growth. And also here we see that the average price quality is moving upward. So .com, still the blockbuster product in the domain space, has increased its price quite notably by 6% every year over the last couple of years. We are seeing a higher proliferation of these repurposed country code top-level domains. So an .ai domain name costs many times more than the .com domain name. The same applies to .co. So the higher the share of these top-level domains becomes, the higher the average revenue per domain name increases. And also the new top-level domains, which in the beginning have very often done discounted sales down to 1 cent per domain name, are also going away from this practice, and now we can sell new top-level domains at prices not very much below the prices for more established top-level domains, which means we're not only seeing number growth, but we're also seeing more revenue per volume unit that we generate. And this makes us very confident that we can continue the high single-digit margins, organic growth rate in our domain business, not only in this year, but also in future years.
Finally, could you maybe tell us more about the new generic top-level domain program being run by ICANN next year and your participation?
Right. So this is quite literally a once-in-a-decade event. So the last ICANN round happened in 2012, and I just alluded to the big success that the domains released after then had over a bit more than a decade. Now in 2026, we will see the second such window. We of course very enthusiastic about it. We have firmly established ourselves as the #1 player as an outsourcing provider to operate the technical operations of these top-level domains, and which puts us into a very good spot to pitch for the new business that is going to come next year. And we are very convinced that the next round will be at minimum as big as the last round was. So we see that the top providers in this industry, by the way, all of them are customers, like a company Radix or XYZ or ShortDot, will first of all these companies have become materially profitable over the last decade, which will of course first of all make them reinvest part of their past success into future success, and it will also call quite a few new parties to the plan who want to basically repeat the success stories that these companies had over the last couple of years. And there is even one company that or publicly announces that they want to apply for 200 new top-level domains, and that's only tip of the iceberg. That's already becoming visible at this stage. So I would not be surprised if our business in this specific segment could double over the next couple of years.
Well, Michael, I hope you'll continue to keep us updated on your progress. Thank you very much for the update today.
Thank you, Stephen.
Michael Riedl, CEO of Team Internet.